Hello and welcome back to my fourth video. I will start with saying that I've been trying and mixing with my sound and I hope it's better now, but just please tell me in the comments if it is or if it's not. So recently I unlocked this, my first M60, and I actually like it quite a lot. So I got requested from a lot of people about using the 105mm HESH, which I now have on this M60, which is right here. I think the Leopards also has 105, which spends 127 too. And I got requested to shoot some Russian tanks, so I thought I'm going to combine these two videos and just make a special weaknesses on some Russian tanks that might work, and just some testing with the 127mm penetration HESH rounds. So, over to the testing ground. So, hello and welcome to the TankPolygon testing ground. This is an older version where you can't shoot the T64s and the MBTs because they are not in this version of the map. But most other tanks are here, so I can test fire on some of the Russian tanks and might do some showcasing on some of the German tanks here too. I don't think I'm going to do any on the American, because they are pretty easy to kill anyways. So I'm going to use this round from the 105mm cannon, which penetrates 127, and you can read all the stats here if you want to. So in the past people have asked me to shoot at range, so I'm going to do that now. I were going to do this in realistic, but well, so far that haven't worked out because of some reason my cannon won't shoot straight even if I have the upgrades. And that might be, I don't know why that is. Because in real games it shoots straight, but in this it sometimes doesn't. So I'm just gonna take help from the arcade aiming. So we start with the T54 over here, and over on this side, or on this under the third mantlet, there is a small roof that you can penetrate through with HESH, and also large HE. And if I can shoot her, as you see, the damage went down straight into the ammo and detonated the tank. If you can aim good enough, you can hit the cupolas and do some good okay, bounce. If I can hit the cupola, as you see, pretty much kills it. Just keep in mind for this first test I'm standing on a hill. Just to keep that in mind, I will drive down from the hill soon. As you see, the aim is shifting from green to red on the plates, the upper plates. And I don't know why, but it seems to be mostly red because when I shoot here, for example. Oh, that actually penned. Well, mostly when I shoot there with HESH, nothing really happens. So if I repair that thing, as you see, that thing respawned. And I can hit up here is good. If your round doesn't bounce, you can do some really good damage up here. And on this left side, this is way easier in arcade. Just keep in mind that it's arcade settings, so yeah. But it's mostly the same. The only difference really is that in realistic, tanks take a little more damage in my experience, and that's about it. Now I'm equal leveled with the tanks at about 130 meters. So if I hit here, that actually worked on the upper plate. What about this one? As you see, it works pretty well against the T-54s. And the T-62 is harder, unless you stand on a hill, like I did before. Because you can shoot on the upper plate here, which, as you've seen, it's green, and if you can penetrate without bouncing, you do quite a lot of damage to the interior of the tank. So if I repair that, and try to shoot here, you see it doesn't really work as the T-54s. The what is it called? The underplate. Well, you might kill the loader and the driver. I wouldn't go for here unless you have nothing else to go for. IS-3s I have been requested to shoot. There was one person that said, I'm going to put his name above somewhere on the screen, and he was saying that if you trap shoot or if you hit here with HE or HESH, it mostly kills the tank. I can agree on the IS-3. The IS-4 is harder. But it works. But to be honest, almost everything that you can successfully trap shoot on an IS-3, 4 or 6 is probably going to kill the tank. But if you have HESH and use an IS-3, just aim for this spot. Because I think that kills it every time, or most of the time. Or I would go for the cupolas, because that's super effective if you can hit it. Hard to do in a chaotic battle, but it's a pretty good weak spot if you can hit it. Especially if the IS-3 or 4 is hiding. A T-10M is much harder to deal with most rounds. Unless you have the Raketen Jagdpanzer 2 HOTS, because those are just overkill. You can probably trap shoot this thing. Yep. Probably wouldn't recommend it, because he has to look at you, and that's not a good idea. If, as most Russian tanks, if you can penetrate up here without bouncing, well, that mostly happens if you're standing above them. But if you can do it, let's see if I can get a good shot off on equal level. Or it might only be, yeah, as you see, if you successfully penetrate up here, it does quite a lot of damage because of the armor angling, as I told you in the first video about HESH. But if you can hit the cupolas, that also do quite a lot of damage. So I would go for the cupolas if you have HESH loaded. And if it was like a normal battle, I would probably go with my saber round right here. Because I haven't unlocked this heat round yet, and I can have some reason use it here in the testing rounds. So I would probably go for down here and stop him if I can hit. I would go for that plate, or I would just move away. We have the T-55 over here, so let's reload to... I will just kill this thing because it gets so much shrapnel when I'm shooting on the T-55 in previous tests. So the T-55 is different from the other ones because, well, they have these two. And they're pretty easy to hit, and yeah. If we repair, as you see, if you get a good hit, it's not that hard to do. Might be able to free fire it. Well, I hit it, but as you see, shrapnel. Just wait for the camera to go away. I might already have hit this now, but yeah. Previous shot killed the crew a little bit, and that second shot killed ammo, exploded ammo. So as you see, here we had some tests shooting on some Russian tanks. Keep in mind this is arcade, but it should work for realistic too. And I also wanted to show something that I found useful that I didn't know about. So in a previous video I said that you can, at least with 152mm penetration HESH, shoot away the side skirts. Let's see if I can do it. There you go. No, okay. And then you can, with HESH, just hit here and hit the ammo. But usually you won't fight an E100. At least I don't usually fight an E100. But the mouse over here, that's something that I can fight in this thing. So I found a really good way to kill mice? What's the plural for mouse? I guess there's one mouse, many mouse. Anyways, to the point. If you can hit here, it seems like a strange spot, but if you can hit here with HESH, the armor on the roof here is really thin because of the ventilation and stuff for the engine block. So, and the ammo is right back here. So most of the time, this will happen. And as you see, the ammunition exploded. And this thing only penetrates 127. So, I accidentally did this in a match and just hit here. And yeah. Also, if I can find the Jag Tiger, if you have HESH loaded and just happen to run across a Jag Tiger, well, you're pretty much screwed. But as you might have seen, if you shoot down here, you can at least stop it. And if repaired, if you hit the upper part without hitting the edge, you can actually sometimes kill the crew. But he won't move after losing his transmission. Also, Panther 2s is something that I usually come across. This HESH is wonderful because I just can do this. And then he stopped. Hit the gunner 2 this time. And yeah. Oh, yeah. If you hit right here on the Panthers, you can sometimes kill all the crew. And sometimes the ammo too. It's not guaranteed, but yeah. And the American tanks I'm not going to go through because they are pretty easy to kill in general. What about the British tanks are probably not a good idea to shoot with HESH. The Conqueror might be if you can hit this part. As you see, you can do some damage. That works. So I would say roof parts is good on British tanks. I wouldn't go for the front because, well, that did much. Conway, well, and the Vickers MBT is easy to kill. So here were some tests in arcade. Keep that in mind. On the Russian tanks, some of the German and the British, but mostly the Russian tanks. And just because it's fun to kill IS-3s. Ah, actually I missed. That would have been awesome if I just could hit it in one shot and kill it from that direction. Mostly from the front, and yes, dead. It's so satisfying to kill IS-3s and IS-4s in one shot. So yeah, that's the M60 with its 105mm gun. So I'm going to go to the hangar now and show some armors on some of the Russian tanks and possible spots where you can shoot. So, I totally forgot about shooting the IS-6, so we're going to do this here, because of some reason it didn't spawn over in that area when I spawned the tier 5s. So, there's some IS-6s just standing here next to spawn. So, I would say that if you can trap shoot well on IS-6s, HESH is really efficient, because the roof part underneath the turn mantlet is only 30mm, so even big HESH can do this. But to be honest, most rounds in the game can trap shoot IS-6s. You can go for the Cupolas. Does quite a lot of damage. Probably can just 2 shots can kill an IS-6 if you can hit it up. So yeah, that's the IS-6 from the front, mostly. That, yeah. Alright, you might have seen, but just a reminder in a previous video, Type 74 has a weak spot on its tracks, which is a weird place. But it actually works because how it's rounded, like how the hull is rounded under, and it's really weak right here, and the ammo is on the backside, as you see in this cam in the top right. So if you can hit a little down here where the tracks go in, you can see if I can show from the side. This is not going to be that useful for many, but as you see here, so if you can just hit about here, I think it is, you penetrate the side and hit it ammo. So yeah. But this was mostly for the IS-6, and it's not that hard to do in close quarters. Probably pretty hard to do on long distance, but the IS-6 is known for being an just annoying thing to shoot at. You might be able to pen on here. I wouldn't recommend it. Try to go for the Cupolas or for the trap shots. As you see, it's not every time, but you can do damage to it. It's possible. I would go probably with if I can repair it. Okay, it should be repaired. Yeah. As I said before, don't have any heat FS rounds unlocked. I will probably like this round. So let's see if I can trap shoot. Harder to do with this armor piercing round. Well, I didn't trap shoot it, but I did pen. So the point was, the IS-6, try to trap shoot it or hit probably at the right side, because that will kill the gunner and he won't be able to shoot back. If you can't do any of this, just hit the barrel, because that will damage the cannon barrel and he won't be able to shoot back accurately. I actually shot down the barrel. I meant to shoot on top of the barrel. Anyways, it breaks it. So now over to the hangar. So welcome back to the hangar, where we still have the New Year's Eve fireworks and the Christmas stuff and so on. If you want to, you can check some of my armor on my M60. I have bushes on, that I'm not that keen on taking away the bushes, but you can still see the armor under with this armor view. As you see, if you're heshing this thing, which I don't know why you would do that, but you would probably aim for the edges of the cupola or on the sides. You could probably just shoot up here, you see, doesn't really have any armor against. I would say don't shoot here with 105mm HESH or down here. Probably a bad idea. But most other places probably bounces here on the front. But M60s aren't that hard to kill. So if we go to Russians, you'll see that I have an object, and that's about it. I don't have many Russian tanks. And yeah, so if we go to the IS3 and just go to the armor view, you can see that here on top it only has 20mm. So even HE from over 100mm, I think it is. This is a 122, and it pans 36. So yeah, if you can hit here and explode, or just hit any of these small edges, you see you have more than enough with most hedge rounds to damage it. But right here, you see it has tiny amounts of armor. Even if it's angled quite a lot, it will probably hit the mantlet here and then explode down. And as you might have seen before, here's a guy, here's ammo, same here, up here if you hit, guys and ammo. So IS3, let's go to the IS4 is probably going to be similar. If you look right here, only 30mm. So if you can hit, you see, if I can show this. Here you can see there's a space when the turret is facing forward, where you can, if you can trap shoot or hit the mantlet above this areas, these pockets, you should be able to penetrate down. Same here, ammo and crew. Gunner is on the right side, good to keep in mind. 30mm, 50, as you see. If you hard to hit here, but if you can hit the optics, you might be able to pen down. I'm just doing quick overviews, so you can, if you want to, on your own games, just go in and look. T10M armor. Here it says that this has 40 and 60mm, but somehow this sometimes like stacks upon each other, and actual like HESH, usually in my cases, don't work. I don't know, maybe you have better luck than me. But if you can trap shoot, it's only 30mm, as most other Russian tanks. And it's harder to do on this thing. You might be able to, if you hit out here, hit this corner, and under here there's ammo. On the roof, yeah, roofs is probably going to go through most of the time. Yes, 127, that's why I could, 120, that's why I could pen with 127mm penetration one, which destroys the gun breach. So yeah, the T54s, I will just go through one. As you see here, 30mm too. This part is 40 and 30. You will see a common trend of 30mm on most of their things, and that's I guess there's a weakness among most of the Russian tanks, but it's quite hard to hit unless you have HESH or HE. Otherwise, I guess, yes, you'd heat and go through the trap mantlet. So 30mm, yeah. And let's take the T55 and then go over to the Germans. Here you can see it's even, well, there's 100mm, so I can't guarantee, but I would say that probably the 102mm pen one might be able to go through and maybe kill one or two. Probably not. Probably not going to one-shot it, but it might do some damage. And if it can penetrate here, like if you hit down here, so the penetration of the explosion goes down here, it's probably going to do a lot of damage. Sorry for speaking so fast, but I'm trying to hold the recordings down. And yeah. So, here we have the mouse. And the mouse mostly is pretty strong in all directions, pretty hard to kill. But with this new weakness that I found, you can see that right here is the vents for the radiator. Yeah, for radiator. To keep the engine calm, pretty much. And as you see, this is 50, which is a bit stronger. But here is 10. And on this side, I haven't really tested, but I would say the ammo is further up here, so the shrapnel will go down here. I have I believe, once or twice, been able to shoot just straight up armor piercing rounds from my M103 and trap shoot the mouse. And then the AP just goes down here and kills most things in this lower part, which either kills it or pretty much cripples it. That's probably a lucky shot, but yeah. I wonder though, this is only 100 millimeters, so you might be able to, I haven't actually tested, but you might be able to hit up here and maybe do some penetration through the roof. But that might be a test for another time. So, have I gone through everything now? The Jag Tiger, well, can do a quick look. Down here, 100 millimeters. So if you can hit on a good point, probably hit on the right side, you can disable the driver and the transmission. Maybe if the shrapnel isn't absorbed, go further up. Probably not gonna happen. But Jag Tigers are hard to kill in general if you don't have the enough penetration or are standing at range. Besides, probably going to hit a track and the track is going to absorb everything because, well, that's how HESH works now and I've always done. So if we go back to the M60, I just want to thank you all for all the support and all the comments, and I like to go through them and answer comments and such. I really hope the sound is better this time. I've been working with it for like half a week to a week, trying to do everything. If this isn't getting better within the next few videos, I might actually go and spend some money on a real mic that I can place down. I guess a professional mic. Also, I've already planned the next video because I got some requests about gameplay and so. And I got a great game. Oh, not a great game. Okay. I got a okay to great game with my M60, where I had a wonderful shot on an enemy tank with HESH. So I'm going to do a voiceover or whatever you call it on that replay, and that will be coming up in a few days, or it won't take too long. So that's all for me. This was my 4th video, and yeah, have a nice day, and Happy New Year in a little bit late, but Happy New Year anyways. Goodbye.